Good afternoon, YouTubers. It's Saturday today, and I'm in hiding from the sun. No, seriously, I am. I've had the antibiotics, and I'm feeling okay. I'm feeling okay today, but I am not wanting to go anywhere. I just want to stay indoors. And the downstairs room on the boat's really cool. I've got a fan down there. I've got the Mac upstairs, but when I sit at the Mac, even with the fan on me, I start getting too hot. And Fiona's got me one of these thermometers, you know, that you can measure, so I've got to watch my temperature for sure, so I'm staying downstairs out the way. Fiona's gone to the supermarket to get some stuff. She'll be back soon. Hopefully she'll join me for a later video. I have been trying to get her to do a live, but you know, she's got to be in the mood really, as we all do, I suppose. So I've been watching the internet, I've been watching a few people's channels, I've been on the Flight Simulator. I'm not going to bore you with Flight Simulator videos. I know there's a few people that like them, but I'm reliably informed that most people are not that bothered and not that interested, so it doesn't matter. I still fly anyway. I do loads of flying. You might think I put all my flying on the internet, but I don't. I do loads of different flights. I've been all over. I've just landed at Prestwick, but unless you're interested in that sort of thing. So, I've been doing a lot of research into living off the grid, because it's one of the things I'm really interested in, and I've been looking at some amazing inventions. There's some blaggers out there as well though. Some people were talking about coils and magnets and illuminating voltage. No, I'm not having it, I'm not having that. So there's a lot of blaggers who will say, hey, it's free electricity, free, look, I've got a free, and you go and you click on it and you think, no, I'm sorry, but they've got like 3 million views, and you think, oh, that's just total dishonesty really, getting people to click on that, because it's just I don't need to do the experiment to know it won't work. I feel in a good mood today because I spoke to my son on the phone, not Ben, his older brother Richard from the UK. I had a video call from him, and he's in good spirits, he's in good mood, and I haven't spoken to him for 18 months. So he's been unavoidably detained. He's in jail. And I didn't give him my phone number because they're not allowed. Everyone you want to ring in jail, they've got to put your name and your address and all the ins and outs of your backside down. So I said, oh, I don't want them to know where I live and all this. So he just never ring me. I just write to him and he writes to me, and that's the first time I've spoken to him because he's on a home leave. So I was chatting away to him, and he's category D now. He's coming towards the end of the sentence, and I was just chatting to him. It was really good to hear from him. So I'm really on a high today in that respect, and it was good to talk to him. Hopefully he'll be able to come out here next year, maybe not, depends, because he'll be on probation, won't he? And I wasn't allowed to leave the country. Mind you, I was a drug smuggler, so that might have been something to do with it, whereas he's an internet offender, you know, for having offensive opinions on the internet. He had his YouTube channel taken down because people took offence at things that he said, so I'll have to discuss it with him because I don't even know what he said. But it just goes to show, I was talking to him about people like Alex Belfield, who got 5.5 years for online stalking, and there's a lot of online stalkers. It's been a subject we've been talking about quite a lot recently, because there's loads of people kicking off out there, pretending that, well, I don't know, I'm not even going to discuss it. I'm not going to go into that one because it's a bit of a minefield, so you step into that minefield, you know, and so I'm just going to able that subject. Another thing I was looking at, apart from off the grid stuff, if you go into my homepage, you'll see like playlists, and I'm into loads of things: guns, planes, tanks, jeeps, all kinds of stuff. So one of the things is living off the grid, and if you go in there, I click on things that I find interesting so I can go back and find them again. And I don't really put them on for the public to look at, but they're open to the public. You can look at them if you want, I don't care, I don't mind. But one of the things I was looking at, which I'm really impressed with, is dome-shaped houses. you know. And I was watching some of these guys in the Middle East, and they were laying bricks sideways in a circle. You know, they were actually building a wall up to an apex like that. And I thought, how on earth can you lay bricks like that? You know, that's I've never seen that done before. That's absolutely amazing. And then I clicked on these guys who build mosques, and they do all arched windows in curved walls, and some real talent there, some really skillful people. And I'm amazed. And I love the mosque type Muslim architecture, because we've got a lot of it here, because this is southern Spain, and I think the Muslims were here for 600 years, something like that. So there's a lot of Moorish architecture you'll find in southern Spain. I love it, I love it. I really do miss the construction industry. I was a bricklayer. I learned in jail how to lay bricks, and when we came to the Costa del Sol, I was doing that for a long time. And I got a lot. It's very therapeutic. I find construction is brilliant. You know, it's really good. I'm really into it. Perhaps I'll build something one day when I get some land somewhere, because we haven't got any land. I'd like to buy some land and build something. That'd be good. Design and build dome houses. I did actually design some hexagonal shaped buildings, and then have another hexagonal shaped building off it with like a corridor or adjoining it. And it's like when you were a kid, do you remember getting a hamster and getting those round cages with a tube that went to the next cage? So what you'd do is you'd buy one cage and you'd have a plug in the hole. It's like a round clear, and then it had bars around the top, and the hamster would be inside. And as you saved your pocket money, you could buy another one, and you could join them together with a tunnel, and you could just configure it yourself. You could have a few going off like a spider to different rooms. And then what happened is the hamsters all went off and had their own space, and when they met in the middle, they all started fighting, you know. So it wasn't actually a good idea, but the concept was there. And I've often designed my own style of buildings, and especially when I was doing the bricklaying course, I thought, that's no good. That design's rubbish, because someone will come along with one of them diggers and just knock that wall down in a second. And so I was obviously wanting to build them a bit thicker and stronger, so they just can't knock them down that easily. You know, concrete rebars, that sort of thing. You know, you can make a building really strong really easily without turning it into a castle. You know, you don't need 15-foot thick walls, anything like that. You know, I'm not talking that stupid, but maybe a decent size thickness with concrete, and then a cavity, and then a wall on the inside. You know, I was going through all this in my head. You could even have not a portcullis, but a steel door that slides down between the outside gate and the front door. All kinds of things you could have. And yeah, architecture. I could get into architecture. I mean, I'm not an architect, don't get me wrong, I'm not pretending to be an architect. I'm a designer. I can design things, I can draw things, I can work things out. And if I ever came across something really good, that's what I wanted, then I'd take the design to an architect and say, draw me this, tell me how feasible that is. And now I'm amazed, they pump up a huge balloon, and then they put rebar all over it, and then spray it with concrete, and it gets thicker and thicker, and they skim it all, and they let the balloon down inside, and you've got a dome. And it's all amazing stuff, and it's all on my playlists if you want to check it out. Don't know if you do or not. And then Trevor was on the he's done a few videos today, Trevor Colt MC, which I know most of you watch him anyway, but if you don't watch him, please feel free to check him out. He's an ex-veteran, he does all good stuff. And he was talking about why there's nothing really for ex-veterans, you know, who are homeless. You know, there's a lot that are not homeless, but they haven't got a few pennies to rub together. They're quite skins. And I was thinking to myself, you know, the Nissen huts. I don't know if you ever saw Nissen huts during the war. They were literally corrugated metal, corrugated iron roof, like a gypsy caravan, and they had a wall at each end. And that was it really. There was a door and two windows, and it was like a tunnel, going down a tunnel, and then there's another wall at the back. And you see, if you go on these the Battle of Britain and stuff like that, you see them all sitting outside these huts, and soldiers used to live in them. You know, they'd have the beds in there, they'd have the locker, and there'd be another hut next to it, you know, with like ablutions in the washrooms, toilets, showers, that sort of thing. And they're really cheap, really easy to erect, you know. And if anybody gave a shit about homeless veterans, they could build these things in a crack. They don't cost anything to build, really, really cheap. And it could house homeless veterans easily. And soldiers are used to living in stuff like that, you know, because in the army that's what happens. You go somewhere. I think I lived in a Nissen hut, and it looked like a World War II Nissen hut as well. The pot-belly stove in the middle. Down in Weymouth, I think it was Chickerell Camp. We were doing heavy ferry bridging across the Chisel Beach. With the engineers, we took all the bridging equipment down there for them, and then they erect the bridge. So we were living in this Nissen hut, and they were all right, you know. They're not really what you'd call modern standard buildings, but it's got to be better than sleeping rough or in a shop doorway and things like that. You know, you could actually house veterans if these charities cared. You know, they haven't got to do a lot of work to pull the finger out. You could even have solar panels on the roof. It could be powering itself for free, you know, and you get quite a few veterans who take a pride in it, and they'd keep the place clean, hopefully, you know. I don't know, things start small, don't they? Ideas start small, and then someone says, I've got a better idea, why don't we do this? And then things grow, don't they? You know, community spirit. There's no excuse for people being on the street, really. There isn't. I guess some people just want to be on the street, but others don't. Others would prefer to be in a Nissen hut, you know. And these things don't cost a lot of money, so things could be done. And you see charities set up for veterans, and the CEOs, like as Trevor pointed out, driving around in a new Mercedes every year, and they've got loads of Rolex watches and huge salaries and things. And you think, well, that's not right, is it, for a start? That money should be going into some sort of accommodation. I'm not saying it's the be-all and end-all, but, you know, a Nissen hut, for me, if I was living on the street, that would be great. I'd think, wow, that's great. I'd rather live in the Nissen hut than out in the wild somewhere, you know, without a doubt, in a proper bed. Anyway, I don't know what you think. And the other thing I was looking at was, I mentioned it a few weeks ago, keep an eye out for the wife. She'll be returning any time. I said, you know, someone should, because I'm into Jeeps. I like Jeeps and all kinds of well, I was in the army. I was in the Royal Court Transport, so I was a driver. I was driving heavy goods vehicles, four-wheel drives, you know, through swamps and all kinds of horrendous places. You'd never dream of taking a vehicle, but we were told to take them. Follow that truck, and so you just go following the truck to tank tracks, and tank tracks are just like 2 foot of mud. Not even the Land Rover's dead to go in these places, and we'd go through with the Bedford MK, and they were brilliant. I never ever got stuck. So I'm into military vehicles, I'm into aeroplanes, I'm into all kinds of boy stuff. Okay, and I said a few weeks ago it would be really cool, because you see a lot of these Jeeps that have all rotted away, and there's a company in Thailand, not Thailand, is it? Yeah, I think it is Thailand, or the Philippines, somewhere around there, to make new tubs, and they're made of iron, so it's only a matter of time before they rust away. And I said, why don't people make them out of fiberglass, bolt them straight onto the chassis? You know, you'd have to get a new chassis, because the fiberglass or carbon fibre, epoxy resin, you know, tub would last forever, wouldn't it? Surely to God, it's dead light, it's dead strong, and they even make aeroplanes out of them today, so why not use it? And then I was watching a tank restoration programme, and I thought, oh God, there was nothing but more that I really don't want to do than restore a tank. Like, not even if I had millions, I wouldn't restore a tank, because I don't want to, and everything on it's like double heavy, isn't it? Anyway, I watched this programme about this guy, and he said, he was an American, he was obviously rich, and they discovered a blown up German tank. I mean, there are no German tanks left, are there? Because they were all destroyed in the war. Anyway, they found one that had the turret blown up, and it had been pushed into a river in Poland or Lithuania, somewhere out in the Eastern Front. Anyway, they spent a fortune winching this thing out of the river, right, and picking up bits of the turret, because it had been sabotaged. It had been so badly damaged the Germans blew it up themselves so that the Russians couldn't use it, and shoved it in the lake. And the guy pulled it out, and the reason he spent all that money pulling it out was because he said it was a very rare German tank that no one else has got. There isn't one left in the world in running order. So I mean, it was just a pile of rust that had been like rusting underwater for 70 years or however long it had been there. And they shipped it to the States, they stripped it, and they spent a year or more, you know, rebuilding it and re-welding the turret, because the turret had been all blown up. Oh, it's my darling wife, she's here. And the point I was getting round to was, hello darling. Yes, of course.
Thank you.
Are you going to come and join me in a minute?
I don't know.
She's just got back. Have a cup of tea, darling, put your feet up. The point I was making is, at the end of the day, he got this thing running, and he's the only one who's got one of these, because it's rare. Like, I can't even remember what it was. Let's just say it was a Leopard tank. I can't remember because I'm not into tanks, okay? Now, the reason the German ones are more collectible than American ones or British ones is because they all got destroyed, there are none. So that forces the price up, the rarity of them. You know, American half-tracks, for example, you see them in all the war films with the German crosses painted on the side, but everybody who knows anything goes, ah, that's an American half-track. But to get a real German one, that's much more difficult, you know. And I thought to myself, carbon fibre, ding, 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 ding. You could build one. You could, if you had one in a museum, you could take all the plans and pictures, 3D. Let's just say a half-track, okay, just to make matters easy. You could get a full-size, make a full-size carbon fibre German half-track, and you could put an engine in it and some tracks and things and make it look spot on. Then you've got a film prop that can be used in films. You can put a modern engine in it, you can drive it about, you could do whatever, rent it out to anyone, and it would be a fraction of the price as to go and restore a real one. It won't be as valuable, obviously. The guy who's got his Leopard tank or whatever it is in America that runs, he does all the shows with it, and because no one else has got one, the price is sky high, so he'll probably make a profit on it if he ever sold it, because there'd be collectors out there with more money than sense who buy these things. But what I'm saying is, you could build these as film props. You could actually make them, all the rare ones, all the rare things, even tanks. I mean, if you had the money and the time and you could be bothered, you could build a replica out of fiberglass, you know, with modern gears and things, and no one would know for films. Because they do rent them out, and they do get a lot of money for them, because there's quite a lot of vehicles in collections that have been used in films over the years, and they ask stupid money, absolute stupid money. I saw one tank it was a Sherman tank that was actually in the war in the Pacific. Let's just say Wake Island. I don't think it was at Wake Island, but I mean, one of the big famous battles, and it's all documented proof that tank was there, and it was fighting the Japanese in 1940 whatever. And the asking price for it was $1 million. $1 million. And a Sherman isn't even rare. There's loads of Shermans around. Loads of people have got Shermans. So if you were going to build a replica or something, it'd be something that was rare or non-existent. I mean, I've been flying aeroplanes today, like the Handley Page Hamden, the Wellington, the Lancaster. There is a few Lancasters left, but there's no Handley Page Hamdens, there's no Wellington bombers, and you get a lot of aeroplanes in VR that you can fly. But, and they're so rare that people actually started building plastic replicas of them, you know, for gate guards, because the old Spitfires that were sitting outside RAF bases as gate guards, I mean, they were scrap when they put them there, nobody cared. And as the years went by and these airplanes became more and more rare, they went, whoa, that's worth a fortune, we're having that, we're going to restore that. And then they replaced them with plastic ones that were never designed to fly in the first place, but they look the part. So there's a big future in making models of stuff, and if you've got one that actually runs and drives, it's got to be worth good money. Obviously not as much as an original, but they look the same in the films. That's what you want, isn't it? And I think that's it, and I'm going to hopefully be joined by my wife, and I'll put this video straight up, and then I'll make another video hopefully later on with my wife, and we'll be chatting about stuff. So thanks for watching, good afternoon, and may your God go with you.